Good morning, guys. Coach Davino. We're in day 3 of the ABCA Coaches Convention. This is the last full day of all the presenters and the exhibit hall. I'm going to take you along for the ride. There's some great speakers going on. Got a late jump. Was out late last night, so I'm about to get some coffee, and I'm going to take you along for the rest of the day. Let's go.
She's a great example of the bright voices we have in the peak performance world. Her mental sweat Mondays have provided a bright spot since COVID, and it was a dual sport athlete playing basketball.
I was working with another mental performance coach, and a player who we kind of split time with came to me and told me this whole story. Yeah. And then walk off and not use it, not let it actually sink in. So you have to start with a relationship. And I know that's a cliche, and I know you hear it all the time, but if you're sitting in this room hoping to build a mental performance program or support your players with mental performance, it starts with a relationship. Cool? Got me? Okay, starts with a relationship. Physically about the same. If your team's the one who can do this, I'm putting my odds in your favor. If you can control your self-talk, if you can handle failure, and you know who you are, we're going to be in good shape. You cannot grow if you don't know. Firm believer in this. You can't grow if you don't know. If you don't know where you are, it's going to be really hard to figure out where you want to go and how you're going to get there because you don't really know where you are. So it all starts with where you are, and this is scary, you guys. This is scary because sometimes we don't like where we are. Sometimes we don't like where we are. So it could be a really hard conversation you have to have with athletes, like where are you realistically? But they'll thank you for that honesty. They might not thank you for it in that heat of that moment, but eventually they'll thank you for it. Okay, but it starts here. You can't grow if you don't know. Like I said, right? Okay. Dude, you sucked. I'm not kidding. I don't know why you're laughing. You let the whole team down. You're an embarrassment. You don't even deserve to wear this. Why are you on our team? I'm not kidding. You're a joke. Your parents are embarrassed by you. I'm embarrassed by you. Our team's embarrassed by you. Why don't you quit? Our team's going to be better off without you. No, seriously. Leave. I don't even want to look at you. And see. Would you say it to yourself? I just got chills. You totally would. Everybody give a hand for Jordan. Hold on to high standard. Guess what? I am all for that. You should hold yourself to a high standard because everybody else is going to hold you to the standard you hold yourself. Did you hear me? Everybody's going to hold you to the standard that you hold yourself. So if you hold yourself to a really low standard, cool. I'm going to hold you to a really low standard. If you hold yourself to a really high standard, I'll be like, hell yeah, let's hold you to a high standard. That's sick. But the reality of it is, there is helpful self-talk and there is hurtful self-talk. And you have to know the line. So I was one of the athletes that you could come yell at me in my face, you could dog cuss me, you could have your finger in my face, my mom can attest to this, and I would have the best game of my life that day. That was just me. That explains a lot about me, actually, if you think about it. But
in batting practice, you'll probably be very unimpressed. Our guys adopted the saying last year, boring equals barrels. Now, I think there's a time and place for home runs. I think guys get the ball over the fence, need to see the ball go over the fence, but for the most part, we're really huge on staying on baseballs, a ton of low line drives. We're loading down. This helps load the back leg and glute correctly. It's just really good for lower body stability. Not all our guys use it, but the ones that I really feel need it. And sometimes it's just good to take the bat out of their hands and kind of change the object. Front shoulder, it's going to help keep them on the baseball. I used to just do like a hands-only drill, which I still think is good, but when you throw this board in there, it really forces your guy to get in the ground, and you got to have direction forward with your hands. Having on their front side, I'd avoid the one on the left and go with the one on the right. It's basically the same drill, but we're just going to stop and work through the baseball. You really got to brace in the ground, and your direction's got to be working through the middle of the field. And $30 to replace it, so those pool noodles are $1, put them on a broken tee, and they're really, really good just to be what I call constraintless constraint. Really forces direction and tight turns what we're looking for. And really being direct and forward with his hands. Kind of is just a reminder for him there that I really can't go that way too far and I got to kind of stay in my zone. And have a really good first move. Watch how he's slow and under control with his low. And really this drill is result over mechanical. So if you got a guy who can't stop focus in a wider space, and the hitters, this guy grabs a little too much net here, but that hallway, again, this is result over mechanical. that hallway feel in the net forces this guy to have the correct finish and vice versa for a lefty. I actually call these to the managers and the catcher. If I want the fastball on top of my head, if I want to break it, I just hit the bottom. Guy pulls off the fastball, I'm going to give him a breakable. I try to make it as game-like as possible. This is something that is great for scrimmages, but it's also great for just hitting in practice. And
my hips go, I want to make sure that this is not here and ripping out. Now I turn totally rotation, I fly out on the baseball. There is rotation, but the adoption of mainly a linear approach with my top hand, my back hip, and my front shoulder to the baseball is what I'm teaching and where I want these guys. And if everything is in line. On that pitch, when we swing the barrel, we want to be palm up, palm down, and I want extension through the baseball. And what I do, in my head and in my eyes, I'm taking my attention to what I call the lick, the lower inner quadrant of the baseball. The lower inner quadrant keeps me on the inside, keeps me in a position to have margin for error, especially if I'm close and I'm seeing the baseball from out to in. And I can dominate through that pitch with number 6. We've got a second ball mentality. What we do is have a baseball where we imagine it 6 inches behind the other, directly on the same path. And so you'll hear the lingo that I use is hit the lick through the second ball, stick your finish. Hit the lick through the second ball, stick your finish. Talking about really our finish, whether you're one hand or two hand finish. I mean, there's pros and cons to both, depending on the kid. I'm a huge fan of the one-hand finish. I think there's additional coverage. I think there's additional bat speed associated with it. Not a scientist, I'm just telling you. Just seeing it over the years, and hopefully we continue to teach it, and we continue to see results from teaching it that way. Perpendicular to that edge of the plate, and also the lefties on the other side of the plate. So it creates the angle that we want to have. And for each guy to really do a good job. And that striding, to me, the striding is that the pitcher is out here, but they're doing a good job keeping the front side in, staying connected, and staying palm up, palm down through the baseball. Good. I hear that noise.
We're here. Next one we get to is rotation. So we've got extension going really well, which we all know is important if we're going to want to throw a baseball the right way. Okay, rotation. Big thing, hip to shoulder separation. It's a word people use all the way across in any kind of baseball terms of hitting or throwing. And if we don't have the ability to do that, we're losing free velocity. It's our ability to create that coil and how the body works. So the first drill on the T-spot rotation, the athlete's on the floor with a foam roller in front of them. Their knee is at a 90-degree angle. And the main thing we want to do here is we want to press that knee down through the foam roller as we rotate away. And you ask any other coach, the big thing here is we want constant motion. We're trying to increase the athlete's blood flow. We're trying to get muscles to start lengthening out as we go through this process. You'll see here in this video, I have my shoes on. You can go shoes on, shoes off. Doesn't really necessarily matter. The third video, we do have our shoes off, so sometimes it's easier for them to have their shoes off the entire time. So the rocker series, we'll start out with a lunge position. The knee is down on a pad. The athlete's gonna push their hips forward, sitting back, reaching to grab their toes. We're getting hip flexor and we're getting hamstring really quickly. Athlete stays nice and tall, sits back, reaches for toe. If the hamstrings aren't as flexible, reaching for the knee, reaching for the shin is just fine. The next one's gonna be a groin rocker. So the leg is straight out to the side, arms are in front of us for balance, hips are forward, hips are backwards through this position. You'll see the front profile here, front and back, leg out, straight to the side. The third one is our glute rocker, where the athlete will bring their knees together to start. Their hips will go to the ground, and they're actually going to go back and around. So you'll see a better video at the front angle here, but the foot's going to go back and around, sitting through that hip. This is one of our athletes' favorite as it loosens up that glute. You'll also notice the left arm is going across the body, which is going to give you a whole side of your body stretch. So it kind of almost more bang for your buck when you're going through this thing. 6 to 8 reps as well on this one. So after you finish the hip rocker series, we want the athletes to throw the med balls with extreme speeds. So we use a lot of lighter med balls than the heavier ones. Plus, what we have seen over time is the heavier the med ball, the more the athlete is using their arms to throw the ball. So now we're actually overcompensating and not working on the lower half movement, which is our main focus when we're doing these things. On this first drill here, we're emphasizing on the front leg block and also on the torso extension. So the athlete to get overhead in a proper position, separating the torso and the hips, and then a violent explosion at the med ball wall, which is in front of him. You just can't see it in this video. We're looking at 4 to 5 sets of 3 to 4 reps. Not very many reps, longer rest breaks. This is not a conditioning drill. We want our athletes to create an immense amount of power, recover, and do it again, just like they're going to do on the mound or in the batter's box. So this is a loop video, so it's going to continue to loop through. You'd have a longer rest break here. What you're going to see is as he rotates back, he maintains his hips stay facing forward. So we're getting that separation, we're getting the extension that we're looking for, and really what we really want to do is that he's not leaking over his front foot. So that front block leg is staying strong and stable as he gets ready to hurl the ball straight at the wall. You'll notice when we throw our med balls, we throw them straight.
If you guys go on our website, it's going to say right on the front page, we make baseball fun. So it's really clear of who we are. So when I first took the job back in 2018, I went on the website and said, okay, I'm trying to figure out who they are. All right, we make baseball fun, okay? All right, do a little bit more research. What's the business LLC name? Fans First Entertainment. All right, we're going to try to impact every fan that shows up to the game. We're going to try to create a never forget moment. We're going to try to create a wow moment on the field and in the stands. Every game is somebody's first game. You guys know exactly what that's like. Those never forget moments where you went to the field, so you got a broken bat, you got a signed baseball from a player. Right? Right now in a lot of our sports, there's a wall put up between player and fan. And so with the bananas, we try to break down that wall between player and fan and create a family of all these people that come to these games. So
You're still responsible for thinking about what do we value in terms of our position groups. If you're a student athlete that's here tonight, I know I've met some players out in the lobby earlier. If you want to be an empowered leader inside of your team, you're still responsible for thinking about how we can align ourselves with what the head coach wants and how we can carry out his mission, vision, and values. For us at Charleston, we want to create a transcendent student-athlete experience. So not good, not great, transcendent. Something that you can't get anywhere else. And so what I tell our staff is the mission is for us. When we show up every day, what's the mission? What do we value? Creating a transcendent student-athlete experience. So as we're running through all these ideas, like college coaches often do in our office time together, Coach Reggie there with his resume, all right? Inevitably, you're going to come up with crazy ideas. If it doesn't fit into the mission, maybe doing something that's not normal or a fans first mentality, then we shouldn't do it.
You have to feel some kind of level of safety. Now, don't spin that the wrong way, right? You can have safety and you can have really high expectations too, right? But what it means is they're not afraid to be themselves. Okay, so we're going to break this down a little bit more. So we have that in. It's probably because you're doing some version of this. So maybe instead of taking the immediate approach that you would always take, it's like, what different approach could I take? How do you think you performed today? What do you got? What feedback would you give you?
What's going on, guys? That's it for day 3 of the ABCA Coaches Convention. Wow, what an amazing convention and an amazing day. These speakers have jam-packed information for us. The exhibitors were awesome. It's just been an amazing trip here to the convention. Every year it just keeps getting better and better. If you haven't come to one of these, you really need to invest your time into your education in the baseball industry and help your players out. This hotel's been amazing. The convention's been amazing. The city of Nashville has been awesome. Till next year in Dallas, Texas, in 2024, we'll see you there.